ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Intel Extreme Masters San Jose for some more League of Legends action on the new patch 420. We are going to get paiN Gaming versus Cloud9 coming up next. I know a lot of you Cloud9 fans and paiN fans have been waiting for this matchup. First, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and see what has panned out so far within this tournament. We did just have Unicorns of Love playing against Lion Gaming. Unicorns of Love 2-0'd that one. Quite a fast and particular manner to their style, using Lion Gaming's champions, 3 of the 5 in the second game, to make sure they could get that win and make it count as well. Now we look on to paiN and Cloud9, as we see on the screen right there. This is going to be a fantastic matchup to see where Cloud9 has come from and what have they been doing with their off time here, and where paiN Game is at, because they didn't really get what they wanted in their trip to Worlds because they didn't go, but now they're trying to represent themselves back on the scene.
They beat Kaboom, though.
They did beat Kaboom.
That's the important
best
thing.
team in the world.
Yeah. If there's a little known thing.
Oh, do it.
If you're not watching Reddit.
Listen, here it is.
It's a thing called a linear title belt. Basically, going back all the way to the Season 1 World Championship when Fnatic won, the next time they lose, you pass the belt.
Right.
Going into Worlds, that was actually in Alliance's hand when they lost to Kaboom. The last team to beat Kaboom was paiN, so paiN has it now.
paiN has it. That's just got to be the way it is.
Could come full circle here. Cloud9 looking to take it.
And I am absolutely a terrible host myself, Rivington III. Now we have some musical chairs as Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler joins us. Joshua Jatt-Leesman from the caster desk, and Snoopy, he just moved over.
I don't know.
Do I smell?
I think it's Saints.
Am I smelly?
Yeah, we took his spot.
We did.
So.
But they're going to be on the casting desk, which will be pretty sweet to see Monty, D-Man, and Saint getting some casting. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for that, and are all just like glued to their screen right now. Coming into this matchup, what are we looking at? Kobe, what are you looking at from Cloud9 to paiN? Is it mid lane? Is it jungle? What do you think?
So I'm really excited to see Cloud9 because I know that out of the North American teams, they were the ones that got back to practicing the quickest after coming back from Worlds. So they've been putting a lot of time in on, the preseason and stuff like that. And also, Meteos and High, I'm really looking to see how well Meteos and High can play together, because jungle and mid, the combination is so much more important now than it ever was. It already was a huge part of the game, but that's really where a lot of these games are being made nowadays.
And we see Cloud9 hanging out in their green room, getting ready for these matches, just kind of calm, cool, collected area. Not doing too much scrimming, probably got enough of that done, don't want to overdo themselves, and they want to be ready for the matches, because paiN, they're not a team to really be messed with. What are you thinking for this matchup, Jet? Is it going to be Cloud9 right off the bat, or is paiN going to put up a fight?
Cloud9's the obvious favorite,
right?
I think, but as we learned from Worlds, you cannot underestimate a team from the Brazilian region, especially paiN, who had a miraculous qualification tournament. They destroyed people right there, and we honestly don't know how well Cloud9 has adapted to these season changes. Normally, Cloud9 is a team that adapts quickly, but I've been hearing that they have had some struggles. High, in particular, isn't playing that well right now. He struggles. Maybe the rest of the team will, because he's such a shot-calling force.
Yeah, I think with the new season, it's really hard to predict clear winners coming into these games, because they could discover something that other teams haven't discovered quite yet. I think that's going to be a huge issue. Meteos specifically, he's really strong when a new patch comes out, of hammering out what it means with the jungle and the huge changes that have happened in the jungle this time. Meteos is one of the key junglers, I think, in the Western scene especially, to basically figure it out and understand what's the most optimal thing to do at this point in time, which is Trailblazer, by the way.
Solved it. Yep. There we go.
So, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add on to that. Like, there's so many things. We're already talking about people being predictable, like a couple games in here. You don't have to go for both of your buffs at the beginning anymore. Like, I've been experimenting with a lot of things. There's junglers you don't even need blue buff to clear the jungle now. You can hand off your first buff to the mid laner at Kobe, level 5 or something.
Don't say that.
I just got to say.
I'm just telling you.
You can.
It's so painless to hand off blue buff now.
Well, you're revealing it. Who is it? Who are they? What junglers?
Well, Vi is my favorite, just because I love that champion.
Yeah, so next time you're Vi with Kobe, take his blue. Level 1.
Just grab it. Take it away. So Trailblazer's going to be throughout the whole tournament. Well, how crazy is it if we don't see the Trailblazer, if they pick up something else?
They're going to pick the true damage on hit one if they pick Warwick. I think that's about as crazy as it's going to get. Maybe we'll see a chilling.
A chilling?
It could be good.
Even in OGN, Bengi didn't really. I'm pretty sure he went Trailblazer.
He did Trailblazer on Warwick.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be the standard is just Trailblazer right now.
Yeah.
For this patch.
I think we have the perfect analysts here too. If you think of the people that are going to be rotating through.
We might focus on the jungle this time.
4 junglers and a coach is what we end up having. And the jungle pathing at the start of the game will be the most fascinating thing. Whether or not they know to clear the little minions when they counter jungle with blue buff. you should.
Yep.
And that also, the early jungling path stems from the early warding. Like, the early wards are so important. If you get a deep ward now, because the respawn timers are 100 seconds rather than 50, you get so much more information. If you see a camp get taken, you get double the time that you can actually predict where the other jungler is going to be, because you know what he has available to him.
I would like to see a lot more top laners getting aggressive wards in, whether it's just on Gromp or on Krugs or something. I just want them to get a deeper ward in. It's something we saw when we got a chance to see Korea. The solo laners were getting deeper wards in. I want to try and see that a lot more often from these teams, just to kind of path out where the jungle is going to go. You saw Kiki's exploit that last game. He knew they started on Gromp, and then consequently they assumed he was on Krug because the bot lane started on Gromp. It makes it very predictable. So I want to see these top laners getting vision deeper in the jungle.
I want to talk a little bit about that, the camp leave as well with the experience. That research that goes into it. Now, this is pretty much mostly for Snoopy, but for all of you being on the team's most recent. That research for a jungler is huge. That just doesn't come from play. You have to put in the extra hours. Is that kind of a whole team thing, or is that on the jungler to know that he shouldn't be leaving those camps?
Well, actually, nowadays it's probably going to fall to analysts because they're constantly watching your games.
Okay.
They're going to pick up things and see trends. And it actually falls now to analysts. Before, yes, it was entirely on the jungler, and if you didn't notice that, then it was your own fault. But analysts are typically picking that up.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing will happen from playing if you're a jungler, because it happened to me the first game. I was playing against Cat. First game on the preseason, I was new, and I was like, I'm going to destroy him. I'm a 3-buff him at the start. I started at one of his buffs, and he was higher level than me because you actually get more experience from the small ones than you do from the buff now. It's not even that the experience was moved there. You get more from the small ones.
I won.
Yeah, that was the first
Still won the game from coming back for it. So with that coming in, Cloud9 maybe think they're going to have a lot better time on this with the research that they do, with the analysts that they have. They have a great manager as well that makes sure everything goes pinpoint on those teams. So with paiN, we have 2 Koreans in the bottom lane, kind of doing their own thing, but can still communicate with the team, hopefully putting up some big numbers. Do we see anything that they're going to start with? Are they going to try to come out fast? Do we know paiN for hitting the game early?
The Draven, return of the Draven.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
We see that?
Well, the player they have as an AD carry used to draw Draven bans when he played in OGN. And Sneaky is also a Draven player. If they're feeling loose with their picks, they could do it. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but it would be very entertaining.
But if it happens, we called it.
That's Lacti and Ollie in the bottom lane. We will see if that does come to fruition for those two. Also, haven't seen some lane swaps this time. We thought we would with a Gnar. That's been just interesting fact. Don't really need to talk about that too much. But Cloud9, obviously one of the favorites here. Do they obviously look at this game as they want to win, but do we think they've kind of trained for this game, or kind of end game tournament, they're ready to win?
Well, like I was saying, they were one of the teams that they really like to be on the forefront when new patches come out, and they were one of the first teams to start trying to find scrims with people. When a lot of the teams were on vacation, they were just trying hard to find anybody to practice against.
They've scrimmed against a lot of the expansion teams nonstop, and we know Cloud9 really, really values international events because, I mean, that ends up happening. They're so dominant in the North American LCS. They're like, let's find a challenge, in a sense, for a lot of the time, and these are those big challenges for them.
All right, well, we are about to throw it down to Shox on the main stage to introduce the players.
Very much, Rivington. It is indeed time to meet our teams now. First up, it's the fans that got them here with 42%, almost 42% of the fan vote. They're on their home turf. Give it up for Cloud9. And their opponents, they absolutely decimated their opponents in the Brazilian qualifier to get here. There's no strangers to IEM. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for paiN Gaming.
Thank you very much, Shox. We have seen the teams. They are getting ready and raring to go. I want to get your guys' opinions on the coaches as well. Is this a nerf to the notebook? Is it a plus to the lemon book? What happens here? Chat?
I think it's just a slight improvement in the pick and ban strategy for the teams that were good at following their pre-played plans. I think Cloud9 is one of those teams. Lemon worked very closely with Charlie to get the pick and ban. But it's nice to have him in there.
No, it definitely is. Seeing Charlie, like, he puts so much effort in. Actually, now he's going to be able to FaceTime as well. It's like nice to see the coaches getting rewarded a little bit at the same time for all the hard work they put in. Because they basically go through the same slugfest that players go through day in, day out, hour by hour.
And now we don't have to hear them complain afterwards if their team loses. Oh no, I don't know what happened to pick bands. Why did they change everything?
They're responsible now.
That's the #1 complaint I hear from all the coaches. They're always whining. Oh, I don't know why they changed pick bands.
Yep.
They have no excuse.
I told them to pick Aurelia first, and then they went and picked Maokai. We heard it all the time. We've heard it before. Hopefully not anymore with the coaches being set into place. We are about to get into picks and bans quite soon to see what Cloud9 is really going to bring to paiN Gaming, and I'm interested to see what both these teams bring out. I haven't seen Cloud9 playing too much. Maybe some streams with Sneaky and Lemon, but other than that, it's just solo queue champs. Nothing they've really been doing in the scrims.
And I'm excited to see paiN, like Kami. I haven't seen Kami in so long, and he's been a big star in Brazil for forever. Like, that was one of the first big names from Brazil that really brought my attention.
I think he's been playing in paiN since he was 15 years old.
Yeah, and he's only 18 now, and he's this huge mid-lane star. Yeah.
Kind of like the Voy Boy of
the
Brazilian scene, or even Pobelter in that case. Pobelter's a much better example.
Yeah.
But it's someone who's, you're like, oh yeah, he's been around forever. He's old. And you're like, no, he's not even.
Yeah, he's only 18.
Yeah.
That's having the experience within the game. We'll see if it actually comes out, though, because it's going to be tough. We did say Hai was struggling quite a bit. The team is one that's well to adapt to new patches, but Hai's champion pool can be hit quite hard. So we'll see if Kami can actually knock that down. Not too sure of what his champion pool will be. We can see paiN Gaming on your screen right now. Probably going to pick up those LeBlancs, the Xeraths, the Syndras, the Long Range, the Lissandras, Sweet Hair. And there we see Charlie.
This is the other benefit of having a coach.
That's
Free
true.
back massage.
Didn't give Medios a back massage.
Nope.
Favoritism for balls.
Well, Monty's on that train, so we're good there. paiN getting themselves ready to get into this matchup. IEM Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. We're getting into game 2, or I should say set 2 quite soon of our best of 3s. We got 3 going on today. And we are going to see Unicorns of Love versus Team Solo Mid right after this, because I'm sure a lot of people are very interested to see what Team Solo Mid and their new lineup have. But as we start this one soon into picks and bans, we can see the teams milling about, chatting. It doesn't look like paiN actually has a coach on their backside. Didn't currently see one at the time.
You don't need one.
Charlie is going to be, you don't actually need one. We didn't have him for the first 4 seasons, right?
Oh, Hai's hair's not blue anymore.
No, it's blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's blue. Don't worry. Saved you there.
Is it the light that affects the hair?
No, his hair is just blue. Him and Zion actually have a hair thing right now. Zion's is like bright sun gold.
Okay.
Yeah, like a Zir style, which is actually available in this tournament. We haven't even seen a Zir.
Yeah, we might see that further on in the tournament. We heard some stuff down the grapevine about possible Azir play. Would be really interesting to see.
Through the grapevine.
Yeah.
I certainly hope that we see
The grapevine of being trolled, or
No, Azir's really good.
No,
Oh,
I think he's
absolutely.
super secret.
Absolutely.
Super secret sleeper pick, even though he's new and everyone plays him. It's just we haven't seen it yet, so we can call it a sleeper pick.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many options with the kit that he brings to the table, the poking power, the zone control, and the new buffs that are available for buffing up your minions. There's so many different kinds of buffs you can have to siege well.
Yeah.
He is really strong at sieging. So if you add him and then you buy these elixirs, or you get a Baron buff or even a Banner of Command, then it gets fairly painful fairly quickly.
That's true. You don't have to get up that close. You can play it from long range. I'm excited to see what that guy on the right can do, Sneaky. We've seen him from an Ashe Zyra lane, very passive, to changing his playstyle over a season to become aggressive in Lucian and Corki plays. And he's actually carried some games extremely well. We actually saw at Worlds he went absolutely crazy on Lucian, and they had to ban it out next game.
The most consistent AD carry in North America by far over the last year and a half. Quite underrated at times, but I think he's getting a lot more praise now, and people are realizing that he really has stayed at the top throughout the last 2 years. I wonder if Hai is actually going to play Zed this tournament as well. That would be interesting if Hai brings out a Zed or not.
So interestingly enough, not many people are talking about the base stat changes and how that impacts mid lane champion pools.
Right.
But so just for some context, people have more stats at level 1 and an equal amount of level stats at level 18. But with the way the algorithm works to get the numbers, the level 6 health and armor right now is actually lower than it was on the previous patches. So things like Zed, LeBlanc, Lissandra that have really high level 6 burst are actually buffed. So they're much more capable of killing people, specifically level 6 through 9 is when they're actually, people are sitting at lower health values.
Yeah, so there's that stat squishing, and then there's also the fact you kind of touched on the magic resistance is a little bit more awkward to buy a big burst of magic resistance since Negatron Cloak's not in the game anymore. You kind of have to build it up a little bit more slowly. So especially AP assassins that get that power spike around 6, they've been seeing a lot of play, and they just give you so much control of that mid game that we've seen is so important.
And bringing that up, level 6s, I can't believe we haven't even mentioned Rumble nor seen him yet coming out here. He was huge in OGN as well. And there was just, go
Rumble
ahead.
and Lissandra both.
That's right.
I expect to see a lot more
Oh, yeah,
both
more
of the
Lissandra.
champions, and we haven't even seen it, not even bans at all. So it'll be interesting to see how it falls out.
This game around, I think there will still be a lot of focus on Gnar for that top lane. Lecco, to get here, he had some very strong Gnar games, so I think that'll be a pretty big pick for paiN coming in. But as you mentioned, Rumble, you always have to worry about giving that one away to Balls and Cloud9.
So what other junglers haven't we seen that may creep out? Kale came out last game. We also saw Eve as well that really didn't make too much of an impact, but he held his own towards the mid game. We just saw it get outscaled completely. What could be on the list?
Pantheon is huge right now.
Right, he's been getting some bans.
His passive just gives you extreme amount of value. You don't even have to use it to try and take an early dragon. That takes a lot of time. It's a big time investment for a jungler. He can go gank with almost full health, and he has a lot of damage. Just Pantheon's a guy with a lot of gank presence. So you just have so many options when you play this guy because he blocks so many auto attacks, and he comes with a targeted stun on level 2.
Yeah, Kha'Zix as well, I think. Not seen much of him. I actually hoped that Lion picked Kha'Zix. So they picked Xin Zhao the last game. I really expected a Kha'Zix pick to come from them. It would have fit so nicely with their comp. Hopefully we see more Kha'Zix. There has been some play of Elise, which typically, like when I first started playing on this new patch, was not fan of at all. But I have seen her get played a lot more frequently.
If someone's going to play Elise, it would be Meteos. The people who really played a lot of Elise are the ones that are still going to be able to execute her on this patch. I actually don't think Elise is amazing, but good Elise players will be able to play Elise. The jungler I'd like to see the most is actually Nunu. Only because
no one wants to play
I just want to see how I could solo queue. No.
Yeah, just like I like playing him in solo queue personally. Only because it creates more flexibility early in the game where I feel like the jungle is most interesting. Nunu is actually a champion who does whatever he wants at level 1. You can literally use your consume and smite on the Gromp, give it to a solo laner, and barely be set back in the jungle because you can go kill your blue buff with the smite buff that you got off Gromp, which is the poison armor, and then just use your next consume on blue and go and clear your jungle that way. Meanwhile, your solo laner goes to lane at level 2, and your bottom lane gets a level 280 carry. And those are actually things that are possible with a new jungle, but
all these suggestions of giving resources off to other people.
It's going to happen.
Jungle then?
It's going to happen. They'll respawn eventually. I mean,
It's like these guys sit here in the office, they're like, we know, it's going to be good. We won't tell them. And then they get on the analyst desk, and they're like, these guys are good. Play these guys.
Yeah, and don't worry, Stupe. Like, when I say give away your blue buff, it is painful initially to give away your first one, but what I do with it is I make my mid laner follow my orders from there. I'm like, okay, I just gave you my blue buff. Now you're shoving up your lane, and you're coming with me to invade their jungle.
You're playing with. Typically, mid laners have the highest.
You're talking about solo queue, right?
Maybe you need Riot in your name. They feel like they have to listen.
Yeah, it actually. So you know how everyone always blames the jungler for not helping?
Yeah,
it's easy.
If you give away a buff and the guy doesn't win the lane, you get to blame him. Because you already ganked
just deflect
him, basically.
We're like, jungler, why?
Well,
Be like,
of course
mid.
I'm not ganking. I gave him my Gromp. What am I supposed to do?
Pass the buck.
No, that's things not to do. Is blame.
It's all in there for the buff transfer in the end. When your mid laner messes up, you just get it back anyways. It's all right. It's not going to work out too well, but it'll help. So we're just waiting to get into picks and bans. We're about a minute away from that as the players get everything set up, making sure the runes or masteries are right before they hop into this one so they can get the full potential out of all their champions. Everybody hanging out in the crowd in the Intel Extreme Masters area. There are some games you can play and have some fun, and Cloud9 fans with their signs as well. This place is actually filling up.
Pretty good, yeah, as the day goes on, yeah.
Yeah, it's strange with the camera shots because people are rather dispersed and a lot of people move in between games.
Down in the floor
area.
area.
Full assigned seating. But it does definitely have a lot of noise during the games when big things happen because there's a lot of people in here.
There are. We actually heard Power of Evil saying, this is insane. This guy being in front of all these people and not like gigantic. Definitely have 3, 4, 5, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people in here. But for somebody that hasn't played on a stage, that hasn't felt the floor rumble, that isn't in the same setting as in their bedroom with a ton of Arizona cans around their desk, it's a little different. It's a little different. Your chair height, it's going to be a difficult task. Well, we'll see if they can overcome this task here, as we are going to get into our second best of 3 quite soon here between paiN Gaming and Cloud9. As I said before, we had Unicorns of Love and Lion Gaming going head-to-head in a best of 3. 2 quick ones for Unicorns of Love. Interesting to see some new things. We saw that Xin Zhao in the jungle, Xin Zhao in the jungle. I don't think we'll see too much of that. You can see the players ready in the lobby and chatting about. So I don't see the Lemon Notebook.
Except for that one player.
Charlie had a book.
I see 4 people on one side. I feel like that's the culprit of why we haven't jumped into the game yet. Someone's got to hop in.
We blaming again?
Yeah.
Blame game?
That's probably the mid laner's fault. No, I don't care.
Did you know that the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland?
Oh,
Did you just...
That's
what?
Don't national animals...
Do you have a fictitious national animal?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Like, how bad do you think America feels that they chose the eagle and we have the unicorn?
Not at all.
You don't feel bad?
I mean,
It's 3 against 1 here.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Canadian.
If you can give me that in subtitles, I'll believe you.
One thing I'm interested to see, actually, in all honesty, is Cloud9 has been a very prominent dragon fighting team. And dragons are a lot more important now, so it's going to be interesting to see how much control they have over the dragon throughout this series. I'm hoping it's not going to be a clean sweep, but I do have high expectations of Cloud9 and controlling the dragon throughout the games.
yeah, I like how that changes too, because it's not just blind love for a dragon, right? You're not just like, oh, we always have to control this area of the map. There's so many things that come into effect of what do we want to contest this. It's not only is it your team composition, but is it, have both teams already gotten a dragon? Because if both teams already have 1 dragon, then
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Neither team. But eventually you get to this point where you're like, well, if I just take this one for very little investment, it's always about the opportunity cost of taking it, right? If you don't have to give that much up to take it, then getting to the 3rd one quicker definitely means a lot.
And we actually saw a few times in the previous game, Lion would find themselves in a bit of a trap. We saw Thyak bottom lane quite a few times. He would actually smite and then have his buff for the poison, and then they go to Dragon, and that's just a chance where they could lose at Dragon. Even though they killed 1 person, it's still, you could lose the Dragon to a steal. So seen junglers kind of get into that area where we're like, yeah, I just smited for the buff to gank, but we may be able to do Dragon now.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Pretty much everybody falls into that where you want to smite everything in the game now. And you really have to make those choices.
See, that's another reason you should be playing Nunu. Because if you max consume first, it's 1,000 damage.
Oh, let's see how much damage they can take out of the game here with Zed. Jace being taken out from Worlds.
Right.
He has been on that ban list. They did some dirty things with him. Syndra banned out as well.
They're targeting high.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Towards the mid lane. They've heard that he's been having some trouble, so they're going to attack it. Kale as well, so we won't see that going in the jungle. Well, let's see what they round out. We're saying Gnar for balls in the top lane, but what's first pick on the other side? What does paiN actually want facing off against Cloud9?
Hopefully not a Lucian. I don't want to see first pick Lucian again. I want to see there's more contested picks that we should be seeing in first pick.
Yeah, also, Warwick and Pantheon, if paiN plays their bans properly, they can guarantee they get 1.
Yeah, both are through right now, so that's going to be pretty huge. I mean, the Kale ban...
Whoa.
That's a smart ban.
1 gets through now.
So Cloud9 could let both through. Like, if you don't feel too scared about playing against Warwick,
that's true.
Warwick still has the same problems that he always had. You can stun him and get him off whoever he just ulted. As long as you run like a buddy system and you always have somebody next to your carry people with a CC, then he's not going to be effective. If you immediately knock him off, then again, he's just this kind of auto attack only champion. He makes very little meaningful choices. So
Yep, and we do see that is the case. They leave both up, Pantheon. And we're going to have that Warwick. Who's going to be the one to take it? Actually, a very long wait here from paiN. Discussing amongst themselves. You can see Charlie standing right behind.
It's like they're forced to do it.
They didn't expect it, right?
They shouldn't have done that. I don't think so. I think they should have just went for whether it was in Corki or whether it was picking up a Janet earlier or something. And then making C9, like put them under pressure and make them have that choice.
You can definitely tell Cloud9 are comfortable playing against Warwick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a really slow early game. You can definitely take advantage of that. Mention the Pantheon being a perfect champion to try and take advantage. A Pantheon can take control of a game before level 6, and you have very little recourse.
I feel like this always happens whenever you have one unanimously agreed upon superpowered champion in a sense. A lot of times people don't even bother practicing it because it's like, it'll never get through. And then when it does, they're scared of picking it. And I mean, that was definitely not an instant lock Warwick. They were very hesitant to take that thing.
But good thing for paiN, Warwick is not a complex champion, so even if you haven't practiced it, it's fairly simple and straightforward to play.
Hey,
I mean,
what are you saying about Warwick?
I'm saying it's kind of sad that
Yeah.
Warwick is the face of our new jungle that's all about meaningful
securing
choices.
Alessandra.
And his only choice is who do I ult? Because he doesn't even have to choose what route he's going to go through. He can do whatever he wants in the jungle.
I think the Wolfman representing a jungle works out pretty well, though.
All right. All right, let's move on, though.
Lissandra Corky.
We finally get our Lissandra.
Sandra came in, yeah. I'm really excited to see Balls. I'm assuming it's going to be Balls playing Alessandra.
Yeah.
He has played it before.
Okay.
And I do expect him to be playing it this time around. I wonder what Hai is going to play in the mid lane, though, to couple with that.
Talon.
Oh, please no. Please no.
If they're going to be
Like,
taking
it works,
Lissandra
but
and
it
Corky,
did not work for them.
they need physical damage in the mid lane.
This is true.
I don't think they're going to completely stack
Corky's
MR,
the mix.
especially
You're right.
against
You're
more
right.
Warwick stuff.
And, like, Lissandra still is a flex pick, so it could possibly still be high.
We will have to see. That's not going to be a Lux. That Morgana's probably going to get locked in, however. We will see the Mundo top lane. Interesting.
It's not too bad against Lissandra and Mundo, actually. Things that would be worse, something like a Gnar, or Gnar's banned, but Maokai. Lissandra does really well against Maokai, so I think Mundo's quite a smart pick in this situation.
Not bad. We're going to see safe laning from the top on both sides. Maybe we'll get a 2v1 swap here, depending on what else comes out in this game. But right now, we're still waiting for Hai Sneaky to lock in some picks.
I actually like a Morgana pick coupled with Warwick. Because if you actually Black Shield the Warwick instead of your AD carry and you use your Black Shield offensively, then the whole simple solution of knocking him off of your carry becomes a little bit harder. And you have to sit through a whole Warwick ultimate. If he's got the Skirmisher's Smite, then that is a ridiculous amount of damage.
That's what SKT did, actually. A couple of days ago, they had Morgana support and the Warwick jungle on Bengi as well. And it worked really, really well.
Well, Warwick, the paiN game coming out for them. paiN Gaming. Hai still waiting. They're taking quite a bit here. The discussion between Sneaky and Hai of what they want. And Meteos is going to go with Lee Sin. Not something he picked up when we first saw him playing, but definitely became amazing on it throughout the seasons.
He did. I'm actually very surprised that it's just taking Cloud9 so long to make those picks. Before you had the coach in the huddle for picks and bans, they would almost always do the instant lock-ins. Now that they get to discuss things more freely, they're taking their time.
I do like, that being said, I really do like the Thresh just because he has two ways to disengage Warwick if the Black Shield is not on him.
A lot of control to be brought to this game. Also going to have to maybe find a Twitch if it does get locked in here by Lacti. He may be switching over for a bit more front-end burst damage on this one if he can get Graves locked in. And we will see down in that bottom lane, Morgana Graves. A lot of time being taken by both teams to lock these in. It seems that they are not really sure what they want, but they have to discuss it between everybody, make sure it synergizes with the comp, and then they'll take it.
As far as champions to pick against Warwick, Lee Sin and Thresh are really strong. They are two of the best combos when trying to counter jungle, get stuff done, and escape efficiently. The amount of wards they can throw, the amount of just massive mobility and catch they provide together is great at shutting down a Warwick. That's, I think, the main reason we would see those two picks combo together. If you just look at general like team fight champion strength, Cloud9's looking pretty weak when you compare it to paiN. But I think they're definitely going to make up for that with some really aggressive in-jungle invade play to just not let Warwick get to spots.
Yeah. At this point in time, paiN Gaming actually does look pretty scary. If the game does scale and go towards late game, with a Warwick, a Morgana, Mundo, Graves, Ori, they scale really, really well, all five of them. So I think C9 really needs to put that pressure on Sustain Jet, put a lot of pressure on early game, make sure that Warwick doesn't get rolling.
If they don't, then they're screwed, right?
I mean,
that seems really scary.
Devour right now as an enchantment for a jungle item is just so efficient. Hey!
So this is something that Faker or SKT did, where Faker actually played Ezreal mid, and I think they had Corki bottom. So they're running a double AD comp, which is really interesting.
All right, well, it's going to be a very interesting matchup, as you say. Cloud9 versus paiN Gaming. We see Cloud take the Corki as well for the mid lane. Kobe, one more time.
No.
He wants to do it.
Well, we just wanted to jump in because there's so much crowd control. This, by having an AD mid, you were wondering, like, they need some AD damage.
Yeah.
Not only do they have attack damage now, but they have plenty of that sustained damage to go with the control mage, Lissandra, who's one of the best control mages. And then Thresh has so much for the backline. It's just such a well-rounded
The comp came together right at the last
Exactly. And they also have that poke that they need, Corki. They have a lot of early game spike with a Trinity Force, and then Lucian as well has a really well-rounded curve.
I'm worried, I'll be honest. I'm
Riv's
worried.
giving you the stink eye.
I'm gonna stop
he
you
wants
there.
to go.
We're going to throw to a quick break right now. We will be back with our second matchup of the day. It's going to be Cloud9 versus paiN Gaming right after this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. Cloud9 will be facing off against paiN Gaming, and I am joined on the bench here by the CLG retirement home of Monte Cristo and St. Vicious.
I mean, you got the whole cat, even in the analyst desk, it's the CLG retirement home, man.
It's the dregs of former LCS.
Yeah, I'm included in that one. So what a fantastic game we have ahead of us, though. So double AD comp, let's talk about that straight away, because we've just mentioned it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope here in Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, clearly the power of Monte Cristo and St. Vicious combined was too much for the event to handle. Everybody, the internet exploded.
Yeah, well, as Kanye West said, no one man should have all that power, so we got a little taken away.
Oh my God, you're really gonna put
Wow. Kanye West quote. I didn't expect that from you of all people, Monty.
from a wise man.
Let's get back to the team comps. Let's talk about what's just happened. We wanted to talk about, obviously we saw SK Telecom running this AAD comp recently, just on Monday, I believe it was actually, over in Korea. What do we expect from this one? I think it's going to be, is it Corki or Lucian mid?
Well, it's going to be Corki mid, probably. It's the old, as Sate and I were talking about a little beforehand, the old Froggen counter, playing mid Corki up against Oriana.
Yeah.
That's all the way back to Season 2. But it was way more effective in Season 2, though, because you could farm the Wolves in the race almost instantly. You just throw the Foss Bomb in there and just, like, jack the Raves, and you'd end up with, like, 300 CS. You remember all the CS records? Like, this mid laner has 7,000 CS at 10 minutes. Like, what? It's too much.
Yeah, I mean, overall, of course, we look towards paiN Gaming, and we said massive Korean influence, definitely. Obviously, 2 Korean bot laners in there, but their entire team comp is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, it is, and we saw Lacti play some Graves in the qualifier for this as well. Little bit interesting, going for Ghostblade, Blade of the Ruined King as a build, so kind of like a bruiser Graves.
Yeah,
it was wacky.
It's kind of like a scrappy, kind of all-in build. But Graves is a pretty good pick against Corki. A lot of people are picking it now that Corki's becoming really popular. But I feel like Corki still kind of ramps up. Like, once he hits his power spike, he's a little bit better. And he has a little bit better late game, too.
Moving on from the AD carriers. First pick came in, Warwick, and you were like, no, shouldn't go for that one. Shouldn't be Warwick. What is it that you don't think is so strong? Because everybody right now thinks Warwick, Pantheon up there, they are the top junglers.
I think Warwick's definitely a strong pick, but it's not the best of the best. I mean, if you're a really good Lee Sin, then you're probably going to be able to outperform and put more early game pressure than the Warwick will. It's on Meteos to put the pressure on it and to take over this game before that Warwick hits level 6.
Yeah, but what I love about Warwick with this composition is that you can chain Infinite Duress so well into a Morgana bind immediately afterwards, and it's so powerful. We've seen teams like SK Telecom do it. Wow.
Oh, the hook on Leiko. Leiko in trouble here. He should be able to get away. Flashes out of it. They're not going to follow through, but instant damage on that top laner, and it does spell trouble, of course. So T is going to know this is coming. Just to get back to where you are, guys, if you just joined us, this is, of course, the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. Game 1 between Cloud9 and paiN Gaming. paiN Gaming as the blue side, and a strong invasion early from Cloud9. This is not something we saw from the Unicorns of Love match.
No, first time that we've really seen a heavy invade here. And I want to talk a little bit more about Cloud9's comp because it is a little bit of a mirror of SK Telecom T1's. And they had the Lissandra in the top lane in that game, and then had the Corki in the bottom lane and that Ezreal in mid. And the logic here is because you are loaded up so heavily on AP damage that you need some attack damage in there as well, and it just feeds into the poke. Also, they had Morgana and Warwick instead of Lee Sin and Thresh, but the logic is still very similar with Lissandra. You can set up the heavy crowd control with the support follow-up with further hard CC, and that makes bursting down a single target very, very easy, and approaching a dragon between the crowd control and the poke, extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah, and also you mentioned before how important that early first dragon is, and just poking people out and being set up for it and getting that first, the 8% AD and AP, and how important that is. And Corki, when you get that first Triforce, you can just set up for that dragon really easily. You hit a big one, or like maybe a Foss Bomb, and a team that's trying to scout out for dragon, you're going to get that dragon for free.
Well, High in this mid lane, up against Cammy. It's not the usual combo we're used to seeing a Corki versus an Oriana, but as you mentioned, back in Season 2, when Froggen was coming up with all sorts of random objects, playing Lee Sin mid, which nobody was expecting. Meteos is going to get a lot of help here, a lot of leashing from balls. So this is going back to 2014 season all over again, just having that top laner following, because, of course, we haven't mentioned the fact that they have had lane swaps. It's a 2v1.
Yeah, it's the first time today that we've seen the double jungle, isn't it? Most people have just been going standard. They're not really trying to be creative with their setups and lanes or anything like that, or even the rotations. But I think the double jungle is like still the way to go. It's still pretty effective, and because of the way the freeze works.
Yeah, unfortunately, right here, Balls is going to catch a big wave coming in. Look at the nice early ward there from the Trinket, and this was not really frozen properly, and Balls is just going to get all of that XP and not be zoned out hardly at all by Lacti. A little bit questionable.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really bad. This is going to be like 2 levels worth of experience. Meanwhile, if you look in the bottom lane, Mundo's just getting denied by the Thresh and the Lucian. He can't farm, like you can see that they're even blocking his cleavers. They can't even farm with cleavers. You can't even walk up to even get in the experience range. So what's going to happen is they're going to rotate the lanes back, and you're going to have this like level 4, level 5 Lissandra against a level 2, level 3 Mundo, and she's just going to bully him and be able to make TP plays on the map.
Yeah, the last time I was watching paiN and the Graves came in, they did lane swap it, and then he went, Lacti went for an early Avarice Blade, and Warwick.
God, it's very tricky to pin down a Corki when he's got that Valkyrie already leveled up, level 3. So Warwick just having a little bit of a drive there. We did just briefly see Ole there, Ole, I should say, briefly there. Still level 1, of course. You know, he's been rotating the whole time, just been completely roaming around the jungle, not being involved in anything at all right now. You can see he's got next to no experience because he's been letting them both farm up. But Lego needs the help right now down in this bottom lane.
Yeah, but the problem with this is level 1 Morgana and a level 3 Mundo versus level 3 Thresh and level 3 Lucian. I think they're going to get bullied out pretty hard. So it doesn't matter if the Morgana's going to be here helping him. He's still going to get denied the farm.
Yeah, you can't really do anything until you have Black Shield against that Thresh either, because you're just too vulnerable to the crowd control coming in.
Yeah, they throw that random hook in. Morgana gets caught. She's just going to get 2-shot.
Well, top lane, we do see, of course, Balls in full control. And you don't even need to look at the difference between the 2 top laners right now. 22 CS to 9 already. Obviously, already hit level 4, getting close to 5 already, Balls is. Meanwhile, down this bottom, Leiko long way off it. A lot of pressure on the tower. They should just clear this wave out. This is finally Leiko's time to get some farm, but you can see the damage that Sneaky's immediately putting on. That's a good dart binding. The tower hits as well. Mistake there. They do manage to land the Death Sentence hook straight in there. Can they catch on towards him? The Ignite is running, but they didn't quite have enough to take down Leiko.
I'm really kind of disappointed that Balls didn't actually TP right there, because I think there was a really good opportunity to try and get that kill.
Well, I might want to save the TP just so he has it for the pressure on Dragon. I don't really... He's pretty happy. Like, he's getting free farm. He's going to have TP. He's going to have that ready. And, like, let's say they send the Mundo top now to meet that Lissandra. You can see he's backing. They're probably going to rotate the lanes out. I think he wants to hang on to that TP just so he has that pressure.
We'll see how it works out for him. There's Balls got himself a big wave. Lacti, of course, just hit level 5. Ward goes out, so Balls planning on sticking around here. He is going to be a level 5 versus a level 4. If Leiko rotates up here, he is heading up towards the top lane, so expect to see Lacti heading back to base shortly. You can see he's already made a purchase. High continuing to keep pressure on Cammy in the mid, and so far, out farming him. And not unsurprising, really. Of course, he's now hit level 6. Expect to see those rockets flying out, but it's going to be a tricky fight. Orianna versus Corki. It's not a straight-up easy win for High.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's actually winning that matchup after that devastating level 3 Warwick gank that he had on him earlier. I don't know how you're ever supposed to recover from that.
Oh boy. Well, Skirmisher Saber showing up for the first time today. Unsurprisingly, I mean, when you have 2 AD carries effectively on the same team, it's possible for Warwick to nearly one-shot them with a strong ultimate. So we'll see if that actually comes into play right here. But I do think that probably Cloud9 is going to control that well enough. They have enough peel that it shouldn't be the biggest issue.
Yeah, they have Lissandra locked down, they have Lee Sin kick, they have Thresh Flay and hook. I think they have a lot of ways of avoiding that Warwick ult. And a lot of what's happening now is QSS is what, 1,200 gold now? So a lot of people are going that second item. And also gives a lot of good magic resist. Like, they're a very AP heavy comp out of paiN Gaming. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some really early QSSs coming out of the AD carries.
Well, something we did see is Balls going back once again, being back a couple of times. So, of course, got that double CS in that top lane over Leiko. Has got himself the second Thorin's Ring along with the Amp Tome. And now it looks like Meteos is going to pay a visit towards that top lane. There's a ward coverage in the river if he needs it. He has, of course, got the... it's the Gromp, not the Gromp, it's the
Raptor.
Raptor Wraith Raptor, they're what they call these days. But yeah, it gave him instant vision that he knew that, of course, as soon as it pinged off, he knew there was a ward in that river, which means he's going to return back to the red buff. Meanwhile, Sir T hasn't hit level 6 yet. We'll see once he gets that infinite duress whether he's going to make any ganks. Going to be tricky for High. He's going to have to get something to get out of there, because he's almost certainly going to be the target, I feel, once that level 6 is hit by Sir T.
Yeah, Meteos is level 6 now, and Lissandra, if there's one thing that she does, is it CCs people into oblivion, so it's going to be really easy for Meteos to set up this gank with the Lissandra. If he connects anything on this guy, he is just dead to rights.
Yeah, I think they were looking for an angle, but Leiko immediately hit 6 right as Meteos got into that tri-brush, which would have made things a little bit harder.
Well, we do see High Just going to dash away from that one. No panic. Something you do need for Warwick is you need someone to slow him down for you. That's for sure. You do need a little bit of setting up. I'll give you that one. But we'll see how the damage works out from it. Ole is coming around. We'll see whether that Dark Binding manages to land and fight its target. Cammy still covering off. He's done a hell of a lot of roaming in this one. And you can see Lemonation mimicking that as well. Coming around to give the support. It is a blue buff that they are going for. Maybe expecting an invade here, but nothing is coming. We do see balls going down. He's just simply going to ward it out. And actually, it looks like a dragon rotation.
Yeah, not really sure what the Morgana's doing there. She's just running straight through the lane, and then she shows up and does a black pool on the blue, and then she shows up there. So this is why C9's going for this dragon play. They saw Morgana just run over to hand off that blue. They know they're nowhere around. So it's going to be like a free dragon for Cloud9.
Oh, the Dark Binding not quite landing. Little late reactions on the Valkyrie there, but that is going to be the dragon picked up. Look, Lacti close to catching it out. Doesn't manage to get it with that bookshot, and instead there's 4 members of paiN Gaming. There's the ultimate being propped from Leiko very early on. Can he land that cleaver? He does. The sneak is going to get caught out. The slow goes down, but there's just not enough damage following through. Leiko wants to go for it, but nobody else is on the same page. He backs away. And that was a little bit sloppy in teamwork from paiN.
Yeah, and look at that too. Losing the teleport for nothing at all right there. Cloud9 just really snuck that out, and High getting kind of arbitrarily ulted in the mid lane.
That didn't do the damage.
Shockwave! Oh, he flashed, tried to follow through, wasn't quite close enough. Good reactions from High there. And he does get out of it. And that Warwick gank didn't work, mate.
That looked really unsynced up. I mean, he ultied. Orianna was nowhere in range to do her ball combo. And it's pretty hard to just one-shot. He still has heal up. He didn't even Valk or do anything like that to get away until like the Warwick flashed after him. So it just looked like they're really synced up, or unsynced on that gank.
It's something we saw, of course, Unicorns in Love. While they had that dominant performance, there was a few questionable teamwork moments, but it is early days. It is the first game of the day on this big stage here in San Jose at the Intel Extreme Masters. Pink ward down, and Balls finds that one. He will clear that out. And Leiko has returned to lane, but Meteos, he's sneaking up, should move unseen, and Elimination joining. This may actually be the first tower dive on Leiko and possibly the first blood.
Yeah, this is where the chain CC can really come into effect. They're going to wait for Lysandra, see if Leiko moves up just a little bit more.
I think he knows something's up. I don't think he's going to fall for this. It's like, yo, where's Thresh? Wait, bot lane, where's he at?
Well, it could still be a full dive. I mean, he's going straight for it. There he is. Balls tries to lock him up, but he does instantly flash away. And, well, he's going to clean up the farm. They're not even putting pressure on the tower.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're actually not looking to take advantage of the fact that they have the TP up on him and do like a 4-man play bottom or try to do a dive or anything like that. The Lysandra's in a really good position to affect the bot lane, and it's kind of weird that they're going to roam the Thresh up there to pressure the Mundo who doesn't have TP.
Is that just a case of Balls is just like, I've got such a dominant lane right now, just back away, I'm happy to leave the tower up for a little bit longer to just smash him?
I mean, it could be that. He really needs the Morel Nomicon in order to deal with this Mundo, because that's the thing, is getting the Grievous Wounds down. Well, I think one of the reasons why we're not seeing as much Mundo anymore is that there are so many champions that can just build this Morello Nomicon easily. We've seen Matathenes fall off a little bit since the changes to the magic regen. And that really just shuts down Mundo hard. All of a sudden, you don't have to worry so much about taking as many ignites that you used to have on previous patches. It'll be rough. It's going to be rough here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, for only 2,200 gold, you just completely negate Mundo's ultimate, and it's a really great item overall, but I don't think you're going to be seeing it on anybody outside of Lysandra this game. Maybe you'll see Morello's Nomicon, Corki, you got the CDR on the rocket, right, shooting it, but I think you're only going to see it on Lysandra.
Yeah, definitely. I was speaking more generally when we see it on the mid laners in the previous games as well.
Dark Binding's not going to get close to finding his home from all of that. Instead, we're going to see Sneaky putting some pressure on Lacti. Remember, that tower took some damage early on. We do have 3 members of Cloud9 moving towards the mid lane at the moment. Balls is also making a move down the river, so everybody is collapsing. It is going to be the jungle. We can see them moving around, trying to get that vision out there. They want to fight for this red buff, and I'm not too sure paiN can respond.
I really like what Cloud9's doing here. It's like the dynamic duo. Any kind of CC jungler with Lee Sin, you have like or CC support like a Thresh or a Morgana. You just go around the jungle together and you just look for picks. Like, you get the deep vision in, you know where the enemy jungler's at, and then you just bully him out. And Warwick can't really deal with this.
Oh, Surtees going to be the one they lock up, and he's in all sorts of trouble. There's the first blood. Meteos is the one that picks it up, but that was a clean kill.
And if you were asking before why I thought Warwick is overrated, it's because this specific reason. If you have a very aggressive support and a very aggressive jungler, and you start going into the enemy jungle and controlling it, vision controlling it, if you get caught out, you have no way of escaping. You have no moves. You can't run fast. Your E doesn't work unless they're low health.
Wow.
Oh, Lactey's
Great
in
calling.
trouble. Culling lands indeed. He's going to use that heal. He's going to try and stick around. He's putting good damage down. Elimination, not quite enough. Sneaky finishes him off there as Meteor tanks it out. Elimination's going to go down. Oh, he gets something back there. Something out of nothing, honestly. That was good work from Lactey in the end there to just put the damage down on him in the first place.
Yeah, they're going to lose the tower here, though. I mean, this is going pretty disastrously for paiN at the moment. It really is an issue of divide and conquer, and the difference between Ole's roams and Elimination's roams have, I think, told most of the story of this game.
You also have to look at the CSing in the jungle. Warwick is a jungler that's supposed to farm up and scale up in items and just be ahead in CS, and he's actually behind Lee Sin, who is a heavy gang jungler, so I think that's going to be really devastating for paiN Gaming as it comes into the mid-game.
And you knew, like, before we even started, Meteos was going to Lee Sin, regardless, because that's all he's been playing lately.
I mean, yeah, I see him a lot in solo queue. He's always been a Meteos, Meteos has always been a Lee Sin fan. I mean, he may not be the flashiest Lee Sin player, not like, oh my god, did you see that sick, nasty, like, insect he did? No, he's a workhorse. He's going to move around and team up with Elimination, and Elimination is really good about vision controlling, so that's why I like the Lee Sin pick for Cloud9 here.
Well, Cloud9 have that 1,000 gold advantage, Dragon up in just 20 seconds time. We'll see whether it is Cloud9 that make the moves for it right now, because Balls has that teleport going back up towards the top lane. Nico trying to put pressure down, but Lactey in all sorts of trouble here. He's going to get teleport support from Nico. They're going to try to force him out, but that was never really going to pay off for them.
He TP'd just in time for Dragon to come up, so he's going to be down there for it at least. But I think they're just going to back off and let the Lissandra push top. He'll probably get a free turret off of this too.
Yeah, and they still have the TP up. I mean, we're looking right now, that Mundo is mostly just a defensive teleport because Lactey had to burn his Ghostblade. He did decide to go for that Ghostblade first build that I've seen him do before on this Graves, but there is no armor right now on this Mundo, and he was getting hit really hard by this Infinity Edge Lucian. It's not really a way he's going to be able to deal with Corki now with the Trinity Force and the Infinity Edge Lucian. He cannot fight right now.
Oh, some risky play from Lactey here. He's going to go for Sneaky, see if he can get the damage down. Sneaky tries to dash away. There's one shot. Is it enough? No, the ultimate misses. And now Sneaky in trouble. Infinite duress. He will pick up the kill, but the rest of the team had been decimated at the back there. Balls comes around and picks up a double. And now Surti on the tower. I don't think you're going to die that way, buddy. It's going to be a simple pickup. Oh, unfortunately, it was Elimination that got the final kill, but a 3-for-1 almost certainly will lead to an easy Dragon for Cloud9.
Yeah, you could at least got some tower damage there while he's running around. I mean, come on, that's like 3 autos. Like, I'm like pretty disappointed with this play.
Elimination with the unnecessary hook too. Make sure that tower damage got the kill to go to him. Oh boy.
Oh, that shockwave so close to paying off. One more shot. There it is. High gets the kill. And it ends up being a 4, and possibly this mid turret could well go down as well. Cloud9 picking up everything in the 16th minute of the game.
This is why you pick mid lane Corki with the Triforce. You get that level 11 super fast, which is level 11 on Corki is a massive power spike. You will literally two-shot any squishy with a Foss Bomb Triforce proc. And you can see it just bullies out the Orianna. She can't hold the turret. She can't even roam. You can't roam against the Corki. He'll get there faster than you, and he has poke to deal with you.
So is that something we've seen throughout so far? Obviously, we saw it a lot throughout the 2014 championships, is the mid-game. It's all about the mid-game right now. And it seems to be continuing that way, just rewarding that snowball-style play, especially with the fact you can start stacking those dragons so early.
Well, under normal circumstances, you would not be able to take all of these towers and dragons. This is paiN being very late with rotations, not responding well to the pressure that Cloud9 is putting on, and generally just being very uncoordinated. I don't know. It's probably the nicest way I could say it.
That was the nicest way I think you could say it there, possibly, yeah. Balls has definitely been very dominant in this top lane. We wondered what he was going to play. Drew the Rumble ban, which actually was a wise choice because we've seen Rumble being so strong. We know that he is one of those top players for it, especially in North America. But as it stands, it seems that Balls has found himself a new champion in Lissandra, and it's working well. Whether that's down to the simple 2v1 play, we will find out. But High gets himself that blue buff once again, and he'll continue putting pressure down. Oh, I thought Cammy was going to face check that bush, and that would have gone horribly for him. So what do we make of paiN Gaming so far? They had the team comp, which could theoretically have worked well, but it's just been countered every step of the way by Cloud9 so far.
Well, the problem with paiN Gaming's team comp is they all have to ramp up. Like, Oriana needs to farm. She needs to get her second, third item. Mundo, he's not that strong off the start. Warwick, he does nothing pre-6. You saw the level 3 Warwick gank. And you just have all these champions that are weak early. You can't pick a team comp that's weak in almost every single lane early and expect to make it into the mid game.
And also, the Graves pickup was a reaction to seeing that Corky, and then it was flipped around on them with the last pick of Lucian. So then they had to move the Graves up into the top lane, and they couldn't even get any bully pressure down on any lane whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a really good flex pick, Cloud9 just rotating that around. And one thing I wanted to point out that Cloud9 does is, if you notice, Lee Sin, he's farming the enemy jungle. He's not farming his jungle at all at this point. And that's really detrimental to the jungler because you don't have conservation in the game anymore. So before, if you took the jungle, you'd be building up the conservation stacks and like, well, I got 80 gold I can cash in once I eventually get the camp. Now you don't even have that extra gold, so you just fall massively behind. Like if you look at Warwick's items, he's going for a Vamp Scepter right now. There is no way he's going to survive against that enemy team comp, ulting in when going for a Blade of the Ruin King. He's just going to instantly die.
Well, this is what we wondered at the start, whether he'd go tanky or straight damage. He's going for the damage route, but as I mentioned, if he infinite duresses on anyone, they're just going to turn around and smack him straight in the face. Balls coming around, could steal the blue buff, but realizes it's up. But the rest of his team, of course, are in the lower half of the jungle. They are making their way up there, though. Meteos and Lemonation making their way towards this blue buff. You can see Sir T off the side. Cammy's just waiting in the wings as well. Ball's taking a lot of damage from Liko this time around. Being baited in, though. Drawn in. Liko hooked in. He's going down. And that's another clean pickup by Cloud9. And then they're going to move in on the blue buff. paiN are desperately trying to take it as quick as possible. They may end up smiting this one away just to secure it. They do, but no, Meteos comes in and takes it as well. Everything is being taken away from paiN right now.
This is such good forward play with an advantage from Cloud9. They are just choking the life out of paiN right now in this game. There's really nothing that paiN is going to be able to do. Their only real form...
Oh, Lacti hooked. Is it going to be enough? Lemonation goes down. Cammy's the one that picks the kill up there. And that may be a small saving grace. Sir T with infinite duress available, going to try and lock onto someone, anyone. Can he get close enough? That's the question. He's on the hunt. He's got the scent. It's going to be High that he locks up on. A quick kick away from Meteos. High will go down to Lacti. Dark Binding doesn't land. Sneaky dashes out of the way of that one. But what can paiN do about this? They've managed to pick up 2 kills on Cloud9, but there's no objectives to be taken.
That was a little bit too far forward from Cloud9. They have a massive poke advantage right now. There's no reason to walk up to that turret.
Elimination just tends to get a little bloodthirsty sometimes, you know. He's a little feisty. But yeah, they're still doing the same thing. They're taking the enemy jungler, choking off the Warwick, and eventually he's just going to become like a dead limb. He's just going to be like, yo, man, I got a Vamp Scepter. Oh, you guys got 4 items? Okay. And he's just going to be useless in these team fights. And I think that's like what Cloud9 needs to do to shut out this game. They just need to keep controlling the jungle and then, of course, just go in and secure the dragons.
Another teleport that didn't work out for Liko. You could see what he wanted to do. He did get the assist gold with that cleaver onto High. But as it stands, paiN Gaming still trailing fairly heavily here. And Balls now with that Zhonya's Hourglass is going to be much more aggressive than he has been.
Yeah, I don't see any way that anybody can kill Balls now. He has the Hourglass and he has his ultimate on top of that. So if they ever do decide to collapse on him, he has a lot of ways of getting out.
One more dragon setup going to come in right now. See the wards going down. They are very well set up for this double sight stone. I'm not seeing a lot of hope for paiN Gaming right here.
Oh, Meteos is making fast tracks here. They're going straight down on towards Sir T. Lands the kick, doesn't follow through. Doesn't get that Lee syndrome, doesn't need it, honestly, but they had good vision of him. And that was a quick collapse from Cloud9, but paiN Gaming are trying to react from this one. They do both have their top laners teleport 4 balls, but nothing for Liko. There's the dragon spawning. And paiN Gaming are simply, I think, going to be watching this one go down. There's the 3rd dragon for Cloud9 now. And that gives them that movement speed advantage. And that's only going to spell more trouble for paiN Gaming.
Yeah, the movement speed advantage is really big because it allows you to just rotate around the map and be slightly ahead of your opponent. I mean, there's not really that many outer turrets left. There's just these 2 over here. So I think they're just going to be controlling the enemy blue side jungle, like taking all that farm. making sure that the Orianna doesn't get the blue, and then eventually just poking them out and whittling them down and taking these turrets.
Yeah, what's interesting about the gold efficiency on the movement speed is that as a stat, it only has...
Oh, they're going for it. It's going to be Elimination they're focused on. They do get him down, but Sati taking so much damage from the back of that. We do see High now going aggressive. They know they've turned and used it. Shockwave pulls in Sneaky. Not enough damage, so Cammy gets kicked nicely by Meteos, and they just destroy him where he stands. Lacti, though, gets a response. Sati's the one that picks up the kill on Balls, so they did manage to take him down. Ends up being a 2-for-1, I think it was, in paiN's favor.
Yeah, I think Elimination just, he's getting a little too greedy, so they keep taking these unfavorable trades. Luckily, there's no objectives for them to get outside, you know, pushing a turret, which they can't do because they're all too low health anyways. But I think they just need to slow down a little bit and then just go back to what they were doing before, is vision controlling, using the double sightstone.
Is that going to be enough? They lands the Dark Binding. I'm not sure what he was hoping to do with that. just to annoy High, maybe.
He was establishing dominance.
Oh boy, yeah. I really think that Elimination needs to just chill out a little bit and only use his hooks if that Lissandra ult goes down first. And we see there's the engage on Elimination right there. They try and get the Morgana ult down onto Sneaky. High kind of turns that corner a little bit. And here we go. Here is the ult onto Lacti, but he probably should have used it on himself right there for a little more preservation when you're going into 4.
Yeah, it didn't really... I guess he thought the backup was coming a little bit quicker, and the Cavalry was busy getting Orianna ultied, so... And then, actually, I don't really agree with this build that Corky's going, or High's going. He goes to the Blade of the Rune King second. When you have, like, this kind of poke damage that you want out of your mid lane Corky, and BT just a lot better against that.
Oh, Ole's going straight in, face check, trying to get the ward down, quickly picked off. Cloud9 now have complete vision control over that Baron buff area. They may go for it, they may just push on. I'm not too sure whether paiN would be able to react if they do push for it. Instead, it looks like the top lane and the mid lane is going to be pushed. And Cloud9 just trying to see if they can pick something else off here. That mid lane turret is going to be the focus, and paiN Gaming, they're going to be forced to back away. They're sneaky, we're using the Cullen, putting the damage down, and of course with the double AD comp, you can put so much burst onto those towers. Leiko coming across, but really not a great deal he can do about this one.
Wave clear is so limited right now because if Grape walks up to Buckshot, he's going to eat a rocket more than likely, or a piercing light from Lucian or something like that. So there's almost no way to safely clear these turrets with the zone control that Cloud9 has. And look at Balls, he's just constantly threatening to claw underneath the turret and dive them.
As the tower going down, paiN back away. Balls not able to flank and pick anything up from that one, and Cloud9 will just take their time. They're going to chase on towards Leiko. They do manage to land the kick, but they don't follow through. It's going to be a blue buff pickup instead. Quick dive around from High with the Valkyrie there. Can they clean this one up? Looks like they will. paiN Gaming not going to get themselves a blue buff once again. And Cloud9 will just disengage and back away. Will paiN choose to follow? It may well be a mistake if they do, because they have zero vision in and around it. I tell a lot, they've got two good wards around there, but High lands the rockets. Cloud9 not done yet. They're going to maybe push back on towards the inhib. No, clever play. Going to move straight across to the top.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job of controlling the blue buff and making sure that Orianna's their main form of wave clear, and you can see that she's always running around with like 20% mana because she's having to use all of her mana just to clear that wave out, and she can't really use any to fight back.
And the changes to the mana regen in the first place make Athene's less efficient in that regard, so much easier to run out of mana these days.
Yeah, I think on the old patch, she would have been good to go.
Oh, the Shockwave pulls in. Elimination does manage to catch on towards him. Ball's now exhausted. There's the Infinite Duress. They do pop him down quick enough, but quickly reacted there. Meteos comes in. Sneaky picks up the kill. Leiko trying to catch on towards him. Good kick away. Ole now in trouble. Does manage to get the ultimate down just off the side there. We see Lacti coming in. Can they get the damage down? Lacti could clean up here. Leiko on him. Tries to put the damage back on, and one more shot should do it. Sneaky taken solo. Sneaky with the Quadra. Will he get the Penta? Oh, he does, but it's quickly countered. Meteos gets in there, gets the triple. And wow, a 4 for 5 in favor of Cloud9.
Oh, they tried so hard to give that over to Sneaky in this game, but they had to have Meteos finish it off because Lacti did end up taking out for the triple first. Oh boy, okay, so you can see her a little bit aggressive, but Elimination really the only one who gets caught inside of that shockwave. Balls again gets melted before he can do hardly anything right there. Didn't have a chance to ult even, so Cloud9's, I think their team fighting here has just been a little bit confused. They need to poke down before they actually start going for some of these big engages. And Sneaky on the outside right here, you'll see him dash forward again, trying to get it to him. Oh, so close before the resonating strike takes out Graves.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is on balls. You always see him on the side, like looking to flank the enemy, and I think he just needs to be sitting there trying to be a counter engage rather than initiating the team fight. On paiN Gaming to initiate the fight and to stop Cloud9 from poking down the turrets. You have a double AD comp. You don't really have to be looking for these picks.
We'll see how it works out. Cloud9 with the Dragon spawning in 13 seconds, looking to get their 4th stack of the game. paiN trying desperately to defend it, but after that last fight, maybe it will give them confidence. They just got 4 kills on the board. They know they can get them if they find the right targets. If you look back at that fight, T with that infinite duress landed the instant the Dark Bind landed, so it wasn't really chain CC'd, but they got the damage down. But you saw how quick he was popped. Cloud9 a little bit more cautious about this Dragon this time around. They are feeling a little bit of pressure from paiN Gaming.
Yeah, this Dragon's really big because it puts basically a 6-minute timer window on when the game's going to be ending.
Oh, they get the Hawk on Sati. Quick infinite duress, but there we go. Look how quick he goes down. Full damage build. Good shockwave lands on towards him. Lemonation going to be the target. Have they got the damage to follow it off? No, the shield from Meteos keeps him alive, and now Cloud9 just forced them away. High going aggressive on towards Cammy. Cammy running away from this one. Should paiN avoid it? No, Meteos flashes through. Doesn't choose to follow through. There's 3 members of paiN there. Wise choice to back away. And we do even see balls teleporting to the top to make sure that tower stays alive. And it was all now going Cloud9's way.
If you look at how Cloud9 did that team fight, they waited for the Warwick to come into them rather than going after them. And they really have no options because if Warwick dives in, you saw he died literally in 1 hit. I'm pretty sure like Lucy and Infinity Edge crit him, he died instantly. So I think if Cloud9 keeps fighting like this, it's going to be a really rough game for paiN Gaming.
I think that Balls could be playing these team fights a little bit better, though. If they want to wait for that Warwick ult to come in, I think the best way to use Lysandra in this scenario is just to E forward and ult yourself just to zone off the rest of the team while your double carries force on. But Lemonation a little bit caught out.
It's going to get taken down. Lac-T gets the kill, but the rest of Cloud9 now claps in towards them. Sati trying to take down that little scuttling crab in that river. It will give them the coverage of the Baron, but they can't.
He's got the moves.
They keep resetting on him. They just managed to finally take him down. So they got vision and a ping ward in that Baron, which is almost certainly a target for Cloud9 at this stage with 4 buffs on the board from that Dragon. paiN, though, grouping up. Can they push and take down their first tower of the game? I doubt it with Cloud9. They have very good wave clear. They get a couple of shots on there, but that is all it's going to be for them. Just about 3 shots on a tower. That's tough.
Yeah, paiN Gaming could somehow start getting these turret kills. They could even up, like, there's 3,000 gold, global gold just sitting on the outside of the map that they can easily pick up if they could somehow just hold mid and send like Mundo off to split push. But I think Cloud9 is going to be really hard pressuring that Baron. Like, now they have armor on the Lee Sin, so now they can actually effectively bait it. And he probably has some points in his W now, so they don't really risk too much to actually start the Baron and maybe look to turn off.
Scrying no abuse. Cloud9 spotted, taking down blue buff once again. I think for the 3rd or 4th time away from Cammy. He's never had his hands on that one yet. Leiko getting caught out. Look at that. Putting some sizable damage down on towards him. Still only got that Sunfire cape out. Spirit Visage, that's going to be balls locked up and taken down by Sati. Can they follow through now? Have they got the damage to lock up there? You can see Sneaky just at the side, putting the damage down on Ollie with the Culling. Does a hell of a lot, burning him down at the side, and they have got themselves a small advantage. Can they get anything from it? No, because there's nothing to be gained. And again, it's a kill with no objectives.
Oh, that's just another time that Balls has just been a little bit out of position. When you play a composition like this, it does have to be very exact because you are so squishy. You lack that tankiness. And Balls getting locked up and bursted down before he can use either his ultimate or the Zhonya's Hourglass is causing a lot of problems. He needs to play further back.
You know, I'm actually surprised that he went rushing the Void Staff rather than trying to go for like a QSS, because if you got a QSS, you don't have to worry about the Morgana, you don't have to worry about the Warwick, and you can actually be in these really vulnerable positions and bait the Warwick ult. The Warwick's going to ult you, then guess what? You ulti him back, and you're just going to insta-die, and you'll be completely safe. And you have your Zhonya's to back up as well.
I agree entirely, especially because there's such little magic resist out.
Oh, Ollie got out there. He's going down. No doubt about that one. Cloud9 may actually start themselves off on the Baron now. We can see Sati thinking about backing off. There's the Baron start. Not a lot of vision in there for paiN Gaming. They're going to be well aware of this. That's a very, very quick Baron, honestly, with a combo team. Oh, paiN, they did go for it. That's going to get them locked up. They're going to go down. Leiko doing what he can to get away from this one. I'm not even sure even the hit point regeneration of Mundo is going to be enough. Meteos comes flying through, and Balls picks himself up the kill. And now, with the Baron buff, Cloud9 should surely storm through the base.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Balls ulting himself instead of somebody else, making sure that he doesn't go down too quickly.
Yeah, he just needs to be a front line, like a buffer for his team, so the AD carries can sit back and do damage. Because Corki and Lucian right now are doing absolutely insane damage. They will kill anybody on their front line. Mundo doesn't even have that much armor. He's like ninja tapping fire.
Ball's actually taken very low. Zhonya's will keep him alive. There goes the inhibitor turret. Hook goes out, not going to land. And Cammy, not a lot to respond to. There's the inhib. And Cloud9 will back away. So, first inhib of the game down within 33 minutes, honestly. If you'd have saw the start of this game, you could have honestly called it within 20 minutes, but they've taken a while to close this one out, Cloud9. As we saw before, and Surti going in very deep on this one. They're just going to get destroyed round left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And wow, that was something from paiN Gaming right there.
Well, what do you do at this point? Because here, that little timer in the top left of your screen is ticking down to the 5th dragon buff, and they have Baron. And if they have Baron and the double dragon buff from the 5th level, there is no way you will hold.
Yeah. It's a 16% damage bonus, everything else that comes with it. Everything doubled, of course, with that 5th stack. There's the Nexus turrets going down, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Cloud9 will take game 1 in the series here at the Intel Extreme Masters in San Jose. It is a best of 3. It's not over yet, but Cloud9 starting out well in this first matchup.
Yeah, I think the takeaway there is that they really need to be, Lemonation and Balls need to be more cognizant of their positioning, because Lacti was surprisingly able to take advantage of many of those kind of choppy team fights from Cloud9, and he was picking up multi-kills, and you let an AD carry get back in the game like that, and you may have some trouble, but Lacti's positioning in those team fights was generally pretty good considering how far behind he was.
Yeah, they kept getting favorable trades even when they were, what, 7K behind at one point? And I don't think that should ever happen. I think Cloud9 just, yeah, they need to group up a little bit better, take a little bit less risk, and of course, build a QSS if they have Warwick. I mean, for the love of God, especially if you're going to be diving into 4 people by yourself. Yeah.
I mean, it was a great start, honestly, for Cloud9. They had everything they needed, and obviously you just need to look at the lane swaps that happened. They took full control of that jungle. It was a very good start for Cloud9. They do eventually close this one out. We're going to go over to our expert desk to take us through game 1.
Full control of the game. They did indeed have Cloud9 coming out of that one. Put on pretty much a clinic there. They did take a little bit of time when we thought they could have kind of pushed and had the win. They did it their own way, if you will, and got the wins the way they wanted.
Sloppy way.
Wanted to get all the buffs. Lemonation getting a little hyphy, making plays he shouldn't have made. But that shows that Cloud9, they feel good enough to come out on the stage, pick some champions. Obviously, they feel good on, but kind of go a little ham, and they did that game.
Messy.
A little bit too ham, to be honest.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily even ham in the right way.
Yeah.
So it's just Lemon near a turret or Balls not ulting himself in the right situations. It was just Lemon and Balls getting caught so many times really prolonged a game that Cloud9 should have easily won.
Yeah, and I like the point that Saint made as well. The 3,000 gold outer turret, that was at 30 minutes, 46,000 to 52,000. Add that 3K to 46. You're right there near 50K. Yep. That's only a 2K game, way closer. So as you were saying, messy things, that could have resulted in those first 3 turrets. Then imagine fighting a Mundo and a Warwick that are always going to sustain in long fights. It could have gotten pretty nasty for them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any jungler with Devour scales up really quickly if you start throwing away all these kills really easily. I mean, Devour stacks up so quickly if you start getting even just assists in team fights like that. So it gets really scary. Even though they were so far behind in gold and Cloud9 had all the dragons, it was still scary for them. Like, the possibility of losing that game was still very real, even though they had complete domination of the early and mid game.
We said that going into the game, that paiN's team comp was going to require to ramp up. And I think Saint touched on this in the cast, that they basically all had to ramp up, and they never had an opportunity to ramp up. Cloud9 had Meteos had a really solid game early game. We really didn't see much coming out of Sertina's Warwick. We didn't really see much at all there. Like a level 3 gank, it's not what you do in Warwick. And he was actually struggling to keep up with Meteos in farm, even though Meteos was applying a lot of pressure across the map.
I would say if there was one takeaway from this sloppy game, Meteos played immaculately on Lee Sin. Obviously, Lee Sin has a little bit of freedom when he's jungling against a Warwick because Warwick isn't really going to apply that much pressure on him, and he kind of had free reign. But with that free reign, he didn't make any mistakes and was the biggest reason I feel like Cloud9 won.
Yeah. And I have to say, you were kind of worried about Hai's play at the beginning. He played the early game pretty well. I mean, he avoided the terrifying level 3 Warwick gank, but actually after Warwick hit level 6, he was very cautious. He was liberal with his Valkyrie. He escaped a lot of the pressure that they sent mid, and that was over and over. paiN were really focusing mid. You could tell they were doing that, and he was able to avoid a lot of those situations where usually you think of Hai, you think of this aggressive mid player, and he's getting caught by these things, but he actually was able to avoid a lot of them there. Really, I think the surprising and disappointing thing for me was the Balls Lissandra. I mean, this is a character that, yes, she has all these invulnerabilities that she can use, but if you lock her down, you can't activate any of them, and she still has low defensive stats, so you get burst down, and you don't even get a chance to use anything.
Snoopy? I'm not sure if it's Balls just hasn't played against Warwick much recently. Or maybe they have because they left it open, so maybe they have played against a lot. But he just didn't seem to expect that instant ulti from Warwick where he got locked down. He had the Zhonya's every time, and he has his ulti obviously on himself.
Right.
But it just didn't seem to react in time, and it was three very clear instances where it set C9 behind and dragged that game out further, which, as Jack was saying, if that happened once or twice more, paiN could have finished the game.
That was a really dangerous game, actually. They had 4 dragons, but those are exactly the types of games that can get turned around. Obviously, there's all these different avenues for Cloud9 to win because they had the pressure game, they were controlling the dragons.
Suffocation.
But I mean, they paid the price for all those things by picking a fairly porous late game team composition and being fairly vulnerable to what would have been a tremendously heavy scaling paiN composition if it could have gone late.
When we saw those 6,000 gold leads ending in a 5v5-4-4 fight, that should never happen when you're that far ahead, when you have that much control of the game. So we'll see if Cloud9 can clean things up coming into game 2, and we'll see if paiN can really right the ship here, not having too much control of the game at all, not able to drop Cloud9's turret in that game 1 of this best-of-3 set. But we will be back right after this short break for game 2 of Cloud9 versus paiN Gaming.